Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Kim Castle,
And I am Sarah Lockhart.
and we are Super Conscious Coaches. And we want to welcome you today. We want to also thank you for doing whatever it is you had to do to get here today. We appreciate your courage. I encourage you now to make yourself comfortable. We're going to be here about 90 minutes. Grab a pen and a paper because you'll want to take some valuable notes and maybe something to drink. And like I said, we're going to be here about 90 minutes. And just a note, both Sarah and I are presenting today, so you might see the camera go back and forth. So don't let that alarm you. It's supposed to do that. So this presentation is for you if you are feeling heartbroken and you are experiencing the ingredients of grief that can absolutely hold you back.
Maybe it's an idea of how it was supposed to be. Maybe it's feelings of regret, blame, guilt, shame, or even relief. Maybe you're experiencing some self-sabotage, negative self-talk. Maybe the way your family does things is getting in your way of moving forward or holding you in grief. Maybe you're just not able to imagine your life anymore. Any of this is what you're dealing with your grief. And you're looking for the skills and the mindset to navigate your loss with confidence and accelerate your healing. This is for you.
So what we'll cover today, you'll learn the 5 big mistakes that people in grief are making. You're also going to learn how the recipe, our recipe to soar gently, creates your path forward and giving you the power over your grieving process. And we're also going to cover the 3 areas causing you to be stuck.
So to get the most out of this presentation, we just ask that you join us from a distraction-free environment.
Which I'm going to do right now. Yes. We encourage you to take lots and lots of notes. We're offering tons of good information here.
And engage with us. Ask us questions, use the Q&A, or just use the chat box at the bottom of your screen.
And please listen with an open mind and an open heart. We realize you've had some other information about loss and grieving and a broken heart. Hear us with fresh ears today.
And stay until the end for a free gift.
We really appreciate you, and we promise not to waste your time today.
We're going to give you actionable steps.
And we will offer the next steps with us for those of you who'd like to take it.
And we're going to stay around for a few minutes at the end of this presentation to answer any of your questions.
So we want to introduce you to our recipe, the recipe to soar.
Yes, the spheres of assured revival. This recipe has 3 ingredients: understanding mental processing, neuroplasticity tools, and taking aligned action. And we're going to show you today how they all work together to allow you to create and move yourself into a life you love. In fact, it's because of this recipe
that I get to wake up every single day now feeling grateful and inspired. I've actually created a new life and career for myself, and I'm able to open my heart, strengthening all of my relationships, old and new. I'm also able to help my friends and family with this very recipe. My health has improved, so I no longer need antidepressants or even pain meds.
You know, and I just wanted to point out to everyone here, all of the photos on screen right now were taken in the last year. We've had a great time in the last year. Because now for myself, I can allow myself to have some joy, to have fun. I can visit my memories and treasure all of the connections that have blessed my life. I created even stronger family relationships, and I can experience the joy of living with a peaceful and grateful heart.
But it was not always this way. I mean, there was a time after I lost my mom that I was completely wrecked. At the time, I was trying to figure out how I was going to live through it. I mean, I was struggling to take a breath and find some direction.
Yeah, I was shattered. At the time I was trying to make sense of my loss. I was really struggling to find meaning and a reason to keep going and not get sucked into that black hole of despair. But I was that person who was curled up on the kitchen floor while dinner boiled over. I was that person who couldn't get out of bed for days, couldn't function. I was the person who would get in my car and just get on the highway and drive and drive and drive just so I could scream and cry.
We were doing everything, right, Sarah? We were doing everything to try to make it work. We tried so many things, like to move forward, like distractions.
We tried therapy.
And we're put on medications, the ones.
We tried to fake it.
And meditations, we tried to meditate ourselves. Okay.
And so many books on grief.
And we went to alternative practitioners thinking that might work.
We tried running away.
And my personal specialty, isolation, staying put, hiding away.
We tried to find ways to heal. We tried to avoid it. We tried to work around it, let it pass. We watched YouTube videos until we were numb.
And nothing was working. Nothing was helping.
The big problem, frankly, we just didn't feel like living anymore. Can anyone relate to that? Put a Y in the chat for us if you've had that thought.
We're not interested in a world without our person.
There was no magic wand gonna bring them back to life.
And we had to find a way to want to create a life in this strange new world without our person.
And then I saw a video on YouTube that caught my attention. It was a video of a man named Christopher Duncan, and he was standing on stage helping two women overcome their phobia. He could change someone's deep feeling instantly, and I needed to know how to do that. So I learned more from Chris Duncan, and I better understood how our minds work and what we can do when we want to change our thought process.
Yeah, we both learned how to change our perception because we understand how the mind processes our experience now. We both learned that with neuroplasticity tools, we can change how we choose to experience an event or how we feel in any given moment.
The key piece we learned is that we must take action towards this new life. It doesn't come to us. We have to step out towards it.
And you know what we realized? We realized the loss didn't cause our pain. Our minds were causing our pain.
Now, we need you to hear that. The loss doesn't cause the pain. Our minds create the pain.
The truth is,
we get to choose how we want our life to be. We get to choose how we feel, and we get to choose who we are.
We have the power to choose how and what we remember and what it means to us. We get to choose where life goes next.
So let me tell you a little bit about me and my story and some of my loss. 25 years ago, after my son died, I just ran away from everything and everyone. I chose a new life, a new identity, a new partner, and a new family. And I decided I would be happy. I got certified in healing touch and Reiki to manage the heartache that I knew I was going to carry for a lifetime. And I controlled every aspect of my life. I got married. I had 4 children. I got a great job, bought a beautiful 5-bedroom, 4-bath home on an acre in the suburbs with 3 fireplaces, a big pool, a double-car garage, a basketball net, and a ride-on mower. It was everything that I ever wanted to make me happy. And the pain from the loss of my first child was a constant, dull ache. And I just got used to it. You see, my life wasn't only built on love and happiness. It was also, if I'm to be honest with myself, it was also built on ego control and avoidance, because I was still carrying around that pain from my past loss. And so, of course, it collapsed. So then, 7 years ago now, I had a pretty good run. I had an 18-year run there doing that. But 7 years ago, after it all collapsed, I was trying to figure out what went wrong with my perfect plan and my perfect life. And I experienced another loss, another death. I had just begun a reconciliation with my first partner when he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he died a few short months later. So I tried to tighten my control, to double down on those comfort measures I was familiar with. But now I was a single mom of 4, and I couldn't bear the weight of it all. I self-isolated. I tried to use what I knew about mind over matter and manifestation to get myself a new life. Not that I really wanted one. I just wanted to stop hurting. I wanted to be able to show up for my kids. I was a veteran. I knew that the pain of grief was a badge of honor. I would wear it for life. After all, I was taught that grief is the price we pay for loving someone. In fact, it's proof of how much we loved. So I knew it was a burden I had to carry. But that was okay. I had coping strategies, and I know Reiki, and I know how to live with the heartache, and I know how to keep going even when my heart hurts. In fact, I even trained as a death doula. Couldn't seem to escape death. So I spent time supporting others in hospice and palliative care as they lost their loved ones. And after a couple of years of that, I was buckling under the weight of it all. I was failing. I was failing to carry that burden of grief. And so I had my little moment. And I thought, wait a minute. Maybe I don't know it all. Maybe there are things I can't control. Maybe I was missing a piece of the puzzle. Then on the other hand, maybe I don't care. I had fallen so far into that black hole of despair. I just lived there, drinking wine and playing Candy Crush. And then I saw a video for the Magnetic Mind Method and Christopher Duncan, and it seemed that there was a way to let go of this feeling of heartache and the pain. And I realized I don't have to be in pain forever. I'm allowed to choose to be happy. And this guy knows how to help me. I can rewire my brain and I can decide how I want to think and feel about things. Because if I create it all, including the grief and pain, then I can change it. And things won't change unless I change it. And I am worthy of being happy.
Yes, Sarah, you are absolutely worthy. And so is everyone here.
And you as well, Kim. We all are.
Yeah.
You know, I started working with Chris to reframe my experiences and change my feelings and make space for my new life. I learned how to take aligned action. That's different than just taking action. And after lifting that burden with all of these new theories and tools, I was actually able to start living again. My joy and excitement for life is back. You know, I decided to get certified in this work, and I spent 2 years studying, learning, practicing, 3 years now. Wow. I was living my life again, and I found that I was able to remember my son with fondness and joy. And I was able to remember his father with gratitude and love. You know, my life kicked into gear and I was able to show up for my family, my friends, and most importantly, myself. I was seeing some real lasting changes and experiencing that joy again, and that ever-present dull heartache of grief was gone. I mean, no, sometimes, yeah, I feel sadness, but I don't have to live in it. I was feeling whole and happy, and my mother noticed I seemed lighter and more positive and joyful. And as a psychiatric nurse, she was very interested in what it was that changed for me. And so it was, in fact, real change happening that I could notice and others could notice. Kim and I actually met in Magnetic Mind School. We had both suffered through tremendous loss. We decided to work together. We really dove into what it was in the Magnetic Mind Method that was so helpful with our grief. We unpacked which processes and what theory helped the most. And we created a 4-session program. But then 1 month before our first session, my mother, my mom, she died unexpectedly.
Sarah, you know, what I noticed, it was so incredible. What I noticed was your ability in that time to stay steady and focus through those 6 days that was happening, and your ability to apply your understanding of how the mind works and actually use these neuroplasticity tools and continue to take the aligned action towards the experience you were creating. I mean, of course you cried and you missed her, but you said goodbye without getting lost in that grief, and it was incredibly powerful. But you didn't allow it to sweep you away. In fact, we held our program anyway as scheduled.
We did, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And all 5 of my siblings surprised us. They registered and they attended.
It was So awesome. You were able to share this recipe and this approach with them in real time and equip them to navigate the loss of your mother together.
Yeah, that was really a beautiful moment. And since then, 40 people have joined us for this workshop, this program, and we've been able to share the recording and the worksheets for several dozen others who would rather keep their experience private. Because no, you don't have to talk about it to process it. You don't need to share in order to benefit. You don't.
And here are actually some of the results we've gotten with our program, with this recipe. Heather said it was life-changing and was able to enjoy her Christmas with her children despite the recent loss of her mother.
Let me pull those up on the screen here for us.
It was so nice of them to share these with us. They're incredibly powerful.
Leslie said that it was understanding and compassionate, and she was grateful for the tools that she now has to have some daily forward movement, as well as help on those more intense days.
And Linda said, thorough but gentle, she now feels empowered to forge ahead with life's future challenges. I mean, this program is so powerful. She knows that she can use this program again and again should she experience a future loss of anything, really, like the loss of a home or career or a loved one, perhaps.
And that's the thing. I even went back to this program as a client. I printed out the worksheets and I went through those videos at Christmas time when we lost our home from a house fire.
Just 8 months ago, in fact, yes.
Yeah. Sabrina said that this workshop is about feeling so much better in our world without our loved one. So the big problem everybody has, what's the big problem here?
How do we get over it? How do we do it? How do we go on living without them? How are we supposed to do it?
Right. Question of the day. Well, how about let's start with how we don't do it. This is a great place to pick up the pen and take a few notes. Here is a list of things that we all do that just don't help.
Right. We just only done these things because this is all we know what to do, right? We the big mistakes we avoid. We self-medicate. And we know, all that wine, all that self-medicating will only guarantee your own certain death or chronic illness.
Another thing that we all try to do is we just try and bear it. We just try and live with it. You learn to live with it. Well, that causes physical disease. And we all know it creates so much strain on our relationships. It's exhausting.
Absolutely. And here's one of my favorites. I see this a lot. I am screaming mad and I want revenge, and somebody's going to pay, and you're venting and you're hostile and you're angry and you are showing it. And I mean, this is a most certain trip should you hurt yourself in these rages, a trip to the emergency room or even jail should your rage trickle outside of yourself.
Right. Another thing that doesn't help, trying to wait it out, expecting it to pass with conventional wisdom. That time will heal. That's not true, If time was a healing agent and it just took time, why is it that we all can think of somebody who just never got over it?
And last but certainly not least, and like I say, this was the one I specialized in. I ran away to the woods after my loss. Isolation. You're all alone in your room, in your house, wherever you are. You're alone with your dark thoughts, and you're on that hamster wheel of despair. And this is only going to lead you deeper and darker into the darkness.
Yep. So there's 5 things that I'm sure you recognize yourself in there as well. That's how not to do it. Because in fact, doing those things is just coping. It's not a path to healing.
Right? It just perpetuates the grief, doesn't it? So what is the solution? What is it?
You must take the power.
Learn the ability to choose how you experience and heal from the events in your life.
And that is why we have a recipe for that. So let's get cooking.
So why a recipe? Why are we using a recipe? Why are we putting it in this container? Because a recipe requires all the ingredients in order to get the outcome you want.
That's right. There was a comedian, Rita Rudner, a few decades ago. She was talking about understanding. She was musing and fascinating over recipes and baking and trying to understand how it is that you can mix flour and water together and you get glue. And then you add eggs and sugar and you get cake. And all of that to say that the ingredients you put in determine the outcome. You don't want to just have flour and water. You'll get glue and you'll get stuck.
For sure. And she also mentioned in that same little skit, she was contemplating baking powder and what it does. And what it does is give the lift in the cake. Otherwise, you're going to have a flat cake, right? That ingredient of baking powder, our ingredient for lift is gratitude.
That's right. More about that in a moment. So let's take a look at our recipe to soar in a little more detail. These are the 3 ingredients in conscious healing. All 3 must be present to allow for peace, hope, and direction. The first one is understanding mental processing.
The second one is neuroplasticity tools.
And the third ingredient is to take aligned action.
And when you have all 3 of these ingredients, you have exactly what you want to create that life you love.
So let's take a look at ingredient number 1 here, the red one. Understanding mental processing.
There have been enormous advances in research around how our brains create thoughts and process information. Now that we understand how our brains get wired, we know that they can also be rewired with a variety of different techniques and tools.
You see, when you understand your mind's operating system and the default settings, you're no longer a victim of your thoughts and feelings. You can understand your programming and then modify how you choose to feel and what you choose to think.
And when you understand this, understanding mental processing, it gives you back the power.
If you don't understand how your computer works, how are you going to make it do what you want it to do?
Yeah. But why do we understand? Why should we understand? Why do we need to understand it? Personally, before, for me and in general, before we learned about neuroplasticity, we all believed that old saying, it is what it is. We believed that the pain of loss was permanent. I know I did. And I'm curious, you guys here watching, how many of you have that same belief? Give me a just me in the chat if you believe this too.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you don't understand, it's scary. For example, my feelings, they were scary because I found that they'd sneak up on me and they came from somewhere and they would overpower me. And I didn't understand where it was they came from.
Man, can I relate? I didn't understand why I would constantly overthink. And I ran those stupid details, just not stupid, but repetitive. I studied them to death. I ran them through that wheel so much in my head, never got nowhere.
Right? All that overthinking.
Yeah.
See, the not understanding is a breeding ground for fear. Things are scary. I didn't understand what my mind was trying to do with the experience. I just knew it was painful.
Right.
Here we are in the 2020s, and the best advice out there, the best advice I could find, and I looked. I heard this. How many of you have heard this? Oh dear. Give it time. Time will heal it. Or the other one. Oh, honey, you'll learn to live with it. I'll learn to live with it. I'll learn to live. No, thank you. No, thank you. No one had a cure for my heartache.
We understand now, though. We understand. We get it. We understand why our brains behave the way they do. And with that understanding, we now know that we are the cure for our own heartache.
That's right.
So let's really dig into that first ingredient of understanding.
You know, understanding mental processing allows us to notice what our brain is doing and know what to do to help direct how we choose to process the information.
Now, notice that big, beautiful red ingredient in our recipe. Without it, if it's not there, we will experience short-lived success followed by a backslide. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Feel good one day, might even feel good for two. Oh, nope, there you go, right back to feet, right.
And it hits you all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we understand, since I was saying, you know, the big one as far as our experience of grief, they're big feelings. So let's apply this. Let's understand feelings. Grief is very deeply felt. So we're going to have a short lesson here to help you better understand and be less afraid of those feelings. What you need to understand the most is that we're experiencing our life by collecting information through our senses. So watch this diagram while I'm walking you through your lesson, okay? We create an internal representation of it in our mind, and that is what a memory is. Our mind is quick to distort, generalize, and delete that information so that we can quickly decide, are we in danger or not? Is it good or is it bad? Right? That's really what we're trying to sort out. And sort we do. So we will create this file memory and we assign it a feeling. That's our overall assessment. The feelings are basically a filing system in our minds to help us navigate life. The entire process is automated and handled by our subconscious mind.
Yes, to take that just a little bit deeper, let me show you the structure of reality. That basically that diagram she just showed you in real time. Something happens to us, and it goes through all of our senses, our eyes, our ears, our nose, like all of that. And then it goes through our own personal filter. Our filter is made up of time and space and our language and memories and decisions and values and beliefs. And then instantly we generalize, distort, and delete details about this event, just happening moment in the moment. It creates a thought. It puts us in a state because it slaps a label on this event. Fun, scary, you're angry, you're mad, you're sad, you're frightened, whatever it is. And then your body actually has a physiological reaction to it. You might be shaky, you might vomit, you might laugh, you might, whatever it is, it causes that action. So when it comes to grief, though, specifically, the loss of a person creates this domino feeling of loss around love, connection, acceptance, and safety. This dogpiling creates intense emotional pain. It will open individual memories, though, of other times with similar losses, not the exact one, because you never get the exact one, right? So it always feels big and scary. And it can feel like a black hole of losing everything, right? It's important to remind ourselves in that moment that feelings are our internal process, and the loss of a person does not equal the loss of a memory or its associated feeling.
That's right. It's really important to understand that when a person or something significant leaves your life and you have loss, you haven't lost your memories of it. And I know it can sound trite, but when you understand where the feelings come from, we can use it to our advantage. You know, sometimes though, we don't know what to think or how to feel, and the experience is unresolved. And we call that trauma. So the file of unresolved situations gets full. And your subconscious mind will message you a feeling of overwhelm. You try and resolve the memories then, right? Obviously, the folder's full, you're feeling overwhelmed. You sit down, you're going to think it out. You're going to try and resolve it. You're trying to try and make sense of what happened, because you want to get these memories off of your mind, right? You want to have them filed away. If something doesn't make sense or you don't have a precedent, your subconscious mind might message you with the feeling of anxiety because you don't understand how to avoid the pain in the future. So this post-trauma anxiety, it creates stress as our brains just need help processing the information.
So keep this in mind. Feelings can simply regard it as messages. Their feelings are messages from the unconscious or the subconscious to our conscious thinking mind. They're produced by chemical releases in the brain. It happens real fast. The great news is that these are your memories. It's your filing system, and you can override your automated system and consciously choose which feeling goes with which memory. And not every experience or memory even deserves to be a reference point for like in your future.
That's right. Not every experience or memory deserves to be a reference point for your future. You get to choose that. So some of you might be thinking,
You know, this sounds too complicated. And you know what? I'm really just too sad to think.
and that is why we uncomplicate it. We explain what you need to know just as it relates to loss or grief. It's not a university level course. This is a practical approach and a path of healing. We'll show you so you know what to do. It puts you back in control of your experience. And then you won't have to stay too sad.
Well, you might be thinking that, no, never mind this. The universe is trying to teach me something here. They're trying to teach me a lesson, and this is my cross to bear.
Yeah. Yeah. But what if that's not true? What if it's not true and you've been carrying it around because you simply didn't know what else to do? What if you could put it down in a respectful and life-affirming way?
But wait, you might be thinking, never mind, ladies. I really like my coping strategies. Thank you very much.
And who doesn't like a little wine and Candy Crush or whatever your coping strategy is of the day? But let me ask you, what if you didn't have to cope? What if you didn't have to? What would you be doing? Like, do you want to cope? Do you want to be really good at coping? Or would you rather live?
I would like to do a quick check-in with everybody here on understanding mental processing. I know it sounded maybe a little booky there for a minute, but we really need you to get this information. And what you should know by this moment in time is that your experience creates a memory. Smacks a label on it, right? Memories get assigned a feeling, and the unconscious mind communicates with the conscious mind with feelings. It sends feelings. That's a message. And unresolved memories create overthinking and anxiety. And we know from experience that thinking will not resolve them. And now we know why. And we should also really know at this point that you can override the autopilot. Yeah.
And so if this information helps even a little, if it lifts just a little bit of the weight, just let us know in the chat. So let's take a little look at the second ingredient, this neuroplasticity tools.
There are actually 8 brain hacks that we have
We'll
found.
have to update we're going to have to update the presentation.
Well, that's about, yeah, I was looking at my notes thinking we've got 8 specific, highly specified tools, brain hacks that we found most powerful, most helpful when working through grief with processing that heartache. The first tool is called anchoring. And it allows you to change the channel on our feelings instantly.
The next one, you can train your mind to see from a higher perspective with the creating through conflict skill.
Now, the third tool we're talking about is a parts integration. And what this tool does is stop self-sabotage.
And the fourth one we use is perceptual shifting, and that helps you get very fluid at seeking out other perspectives. You get really good at it, and it's really fast.
And the fifth one is creating future memories. This tool helps us, and this is such a cool tool, it helps us reimagine our future.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Although number 6, their magnetic alignment. Once you reimagine your future, you got to forge a path to it. And the magnetic alignment does exactly that. Step by step, you blaze a trail directly, path of least resistance, right to that new reimagined future.
Right. The magnetic mind is the actual GPS, right? That's cool. So the number 7 is the release technique. Now, I know this sounds simple, and that's because, well, it is. That's actually the tool that teaches us to let it go, to put it down.
Mhm. And the one that's not on there is a tool that we use, that we were trained in from the magnetic mind method. It's one of the newest neuroplasticity tools out there. It's called the Superconscious Rapid Recode. And that's where you choose how you want to think and you rewire your brain. And that's just how you think now.
Yeah, and there are many techniques and tools, but these ones are the ones that through our many, many years in legwork has found is an excellent toolbox specifically for grief.
So let's take a look at neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity?
Yeah, when I first heard I thought neuroplasticity. What? Well, neuroplasticity is once upon a time, right? We believed, wow, did I sound Midwestern there? Sorry. We believed that our brains were not able to unlearn anything. We believed that we had to work within the rules of what we had already learned. Like you've heard, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. We've heard that, some people are just too set in their ways, or they're too hard-headed, or I'm too old for that. This has been proven that it's not true. We know now that we can not only make new neurological connections, but we can also prune the old connections that are no longer useful to us. We're going to see a video of our brain making those connections and disconnections when we really learn something or create a new belief, or really forget that old belief, or really don't believe that anymore. It's a really cool video.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Here, I'm just gonna pull it back a little ways. So this video is a real scan of brain cells rewiring. So changing your mind. Every time you have a significant new thought, your brain connects a new neural pathway. So this is that, oh, I get it. Oh, that's you're trying to understand, and then all of a sudden, look at that.
There it is.
It's
I
like,
believe
oh,
that.
that's the light bulb moment right there. Oh, they do it again in slow motion. Look, they're reaching and reaching, and they're trying to I don't like what,
Right.
and
Like
then all of a sudden,
I won't believe it till I see it. Oh, I see it. Now I believe it. There it
oh,
is.
I get it.
Yep.
That. So here's the thing: when you stop thinking a thought, the neural pathway will disconnect. Check this out. Look, it's just, let's go. Just, I don't think that way anymore. So the idea here, you can deliberately change your brain. Your brain is designed to work that way.
And we know this because you always forget where you put your keys.
Right?
If that stayed connected, you'd always know where your keys were.
And we don't think about it very often, but the things that we never forget, well, we never forget, and those connections never unhook unless
Right,
we
they're very strong.
choose. We can choose. The ability to choose and decide which thought process we're hanging on to, which ideas we continue to believe, what decisions we continue to make, and which ones we choose to no longer think that way. It doesn't diminish with age. Your brain is constantly making and breaking neural pathways.
And that is so cool, and I think we're gonna watch some more video here of like the whole city hooking up and disconnecting. But so it's true. It's not true. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Doesn't matter how old you are. There is no excuse for not being able to learn something or forget something that you don't want to hold on to. In fact, I saw a newscast of an 82-year-old man who simply wanted his high school diploma just because it was something he never achieved. And at 82, he wanted to do that. And he sure enough went and did it. Didn't matter that he was 82 and that he hadn't looked at a school book for 65 years. It's just proven. It doesn't diminish with age.
So why do we have neuroplasticity tools in our recipe?
Personally, for me, with neuroplasticity tools, I used to be bound to what I refer to as my pit of despair, my hellhole that I was stuck in after tons of loss. Now that I have these tools, I know that I never have to go back there again. I think and feel very differently, and I'm now able to share these exact tools with others so they don't have to live in that hellhole under the weight of grief anymore either.
And as I shared earlier, I spent 20 years of my life working around my pain, carrying the burden, and nothing I tried was ever a permanent solution. But once I learned these brain hacks or mindfulness exercises and I used them, then everything changed. The pain was gone and I was able to find that joy and enthusiasm again. In fact, I'm now able to use these tools to keep me from despair when I experience a new loss.
You can make the adjustment with precision when you have the specialized tools. Like your GPS, if you don't have a destination in there, it won't work, right? You need the tools, you need the right tools to use. A map will work, right? The old paper map would work, but boy, a GPS will work a lot better, right?
Right? And a screwdriver works, but a power drill is better.
There you go.
Not necessarily better, but it's faster.
For sure. Let's look at that ingredient in the recipe.
So neuroplasticity tools provide the technique to resolve pain and shift our mindset to create emotional and mental stability. And that's what allows us to take action to keep moving forward.
So you can see if this big blue ingredient is not here, if it's not there, you might be able to move forward a little bit with that understanding, but the hurt won't lift. And you'll still be burdened trying to cope with the pain. Genuine happiness and joy are not possible without it. And carrying all of this hurts. It leads to eventual mental, emotional, and physical breakdown, disease, right? It sits in there.
Right? Eventually, you just can't carry it. So resolving pain, shifting your mindset, being mentally and emotionally stable, that's what these tools are for.
And we're going to focus on the first tool we talked about.
Yeah, so we were talking about feelings, right? We're saying here's that it's a big ingredient in grief, lots of big, heavy feelings. And now we understand feelings a little better because we've got some understanding. Now, what's the tool that can help with feelings? Anchoring. So let me explain anchoring a little bit, and this is going to be a little bit schooly, but here we go. Everybody understands that an external stimulus creates a physical response. Remember Pavlov's dogs. Okay, so we know that's a fact, scientifically proven. And we also know that emotion creates a physiological response in our bodies, right? So each feeling releases particular chemicals in our brains. So it's really difficult to get our brain to shift our emotions, but there is a brain hack that does exactly that. So everyone understands that, certain smells or songs can just, ooh, that took me back, right? It might be the smell of a perfume, the smell of a hospital, a particular flavor, a particular song. Maybe it's a simple touch of a hand on your forehead. These triggers were created by your brain to help you quickly recognize if something was desirable or undesirable. Your brain did that automatically when it was in a heightened emotional state. We know that. So usually your brain's just looking for safe or dangerous. Just let me know if we're okay here. Is it okay? Is it not okay? Intense emotion. So this heightened emotion gets anchored by the brain through one or more of our senses. It can be triggered through the anchor. So we're going to use that mechanism, and we're going to give your brain a shortcut to access a particular feeling on purpose. We can actually deliberately wire a new neural pathway and have a simple touch trigger a specific feeling for you. As we get used to feeling a particular way, though, it's important to remember when we get used to feeling a certain way, our bodies can literally become addicted to the associated chemical release. So allowing a new or an unfamiliar feeling is difficult and uncomfortable because we're actually chemically dependent on the hit from the other feeling. Now, I'm not saying that you always want good feelings or you always stay away from bad feelings. Maybe you're used to feeling miserable. Maybe you're used to feeling lonely. And so you're now used to the chemicals that is. What do you do with happy? Well, that's different. That's new. I'm not used to that. It's uncomfortable, right? So it's important to know also, last little piece of information, it has been shown that a negative emotion is 4 times more potent than a positive one. So we use anchors in a lot of ways to help you rewire your brain. But what you need to understand is that it is possible to trigger yourself into a feeling of safety or feeling loved. You can program a spot on your body as a button, and when you touch it, it'll literally deliver the feeling you want, along with the shot of brain chemicals that go with it. You can literally change the channel on your feelings. Now you might be thinking,
No. I have never heard of this before. How do I know it will work?
and what if it does? Because it does.
What if it does? This sounds weird. This sounds super weird, and I don't even think it's possible.
Sometimes a new perspective is hard to imagine. It is. Because it is weird. And it is possible. You've got nothing more to lose by giving it a try. It's like 4 minutes.
Well, you might really be thinking, can I just get these tools like you guys did, like from a therapist or a book? And
Yeah.
Of course you can. In fact, Sarah and I, we did
Yeah.
years therapies, as we mentioned, and lots of books. In fact, we went so far as to get certified in various healing modalities trust me, we've done the legwork. But this program we've put together has those specialized tools that we found most helpful so you can move through your grief. You can process it more quickly and more masterfully.
You know, we've been through the experience. We've been there several times. And what we found is what most of what is offered are ways to cope. There's all kinds of coping strategies. It's like you're carrying all of this weight and we're like looking for some relief from it. And all we're getting is bodybuilding books and healthy, carry it and keep going and be strong. I had to keep looking for ways to lift the weight off. I wanted to lift that crushing grief and find ways to move forward. So we are offering you all of our knowledge and our experience condensed into an easy to follow path of healing through your grief. I understand. I get it. You're hanging on by your fingernails off the edge of a cliff. You're so far down into that pit. You're so deep into the bottom of that well. Nobody can hear you. And we see you. We've been there. And we're not dropping in to say, you can do it. You'll learn to love it. No, we're not doing that at all. What Kim and I are doing is we are bringing you a ladder. And we're going to cheer you on. We're going to help coach you on how to climb that ladder and get out of there. You have to climb. You need to do it. But we're going to bring you the tools, the encouragement, and the understanding so that you can climb out.
So I want to do a quick check-in with everybody here about neuroplasticity tools. We specifically looked at anchoring as the tool. We have 8 in our program, but we really looked at anchoring as our tool today. And that neuroplasticity tools allow you, what do? They help you rewire your brain. And the anchor specifically as a tool gives you the power to change the channel on your feelings instantly. And you should know at this point that there are 7 other tools that we use, and you'll get those in the program that we mentioned. They'll be taught in our program. So the one we specifically were looking at today was anchoring.
So back to our recipe. Why don't we take a look at the third ingredient? We had understanding mental processing, we had neuroplasticity tools. Ingredient number 3, taking aligned action.
Yes, we have to take action to move in the direction of our desired reality. I mean, simply taking action doesn't promise you'll get where you want to be. I mean, look at that lady going circles there on the hamster wheel. You might be going in circles mentally or emotionally. I know I was.
So to get anywhere, you must get moving. So learn how to map out and create your path of least resistance to get yourself to a happier place. It's important to decide where you want to go so that you can take steps to get there.
Let me ask you, where are you at? Did you plan on staying there? Let's get busy living.
So why aligned action? This aligned action. Why?
Well, before I understood aligned action, I was exhausting myself trying to search for answers everywhere in all directions. When I started taking this aligned action, I had more purpose and more energy, really, right? I wasn't wasting it everywhere else. I get to where I'm moving more quickly and I stay focused on my desired end result and keep moving towards it.
Aligned action. Yeah. Well, I spent every ounce of my energy just trying to be there for my family, trying to show up for what I believed I needed to do. Nothing ever changed. I was spent. I didn't have any hope for things to start looking up. And then I understood aligned action. I got more accomplished. I slowly began taking steps in my new direction. And I found life to be much more enjoyable. In fact, I walked myself into a new experience of life.
You'll only get where you're going when you choose a destination and map out your path, right? We know our GPS in the car or on our phone doesn't work unless you put in a destination first. Where are you? Where are you going? Here's how you get there, right? You have to have a destination. So let's really look at the third ingredient in the recipe.
So the yellow one there, taking aligned action. Alignment in our action allows productive forward movement. Focusing our effort to take steps toward the life we choose. Learning to map our course of action, it gives us the power to move through this period with purpose, feeding our confidence to change our circumstances.
Now notice if we take this yellow ingredient out, without it, we can feel paralyzed or exhaust ourselves running in circles and spinning our wheels. We stay stuck without this ingredient.
Mm-hmm. So an example of an aligned action step when it comes to feelings. So we understand feelings. We understand there's a tool. We get that you can control your feelings on demand, they say. So you could use an anchor. You could choose that is your aligned action. If you wanted to use an anchor to address feelings, you only have to do 3 things. Number 1, you have to choose your feeling. What do you want ready access to? Whatever feeling or state of mind you want on short order. You just name it and write it down, or just think it up. How would you rather feel? Number 2, select your anchor. So a touch in this case is going to be your trigger. We recommend touch. It's a little more discreet than rooting through your purse or your pockets for your aromatherapy oils, or flipping through your playlist on your phone, sticking your earbuds in. A simple touch is more discreet and it's more, well, it's quicker. It just is. And so we're going to ask you to select your index finger and a knuckle. Okay? So finger, we don't care which knuckle, pick a knuckle. But predetermine, finger, knuckle. That's all you have to do. Think that up. So you thought up how you'd rather feel, pick a knuckle, you got an index finger, you're good. Number 3, find a memory. A reference. Something that helps you actually feel that way. Okay, so think about this. This is why people read memoirs. This is why people read biographies and autobiographies, so that they can expand their memory bank, their experiences. They've got more reference. When's the last time you felt that way? That way you want to feel. You know about it because you thought it up, which means that you've felt that way before. Now, did you feel that way because of some personal experience? Or did some story have you feeling that way? Some story somebody told you? Maybe you were just into a movie and it had you all feeling some kind of way there. Maybe you felt that way in a movie that you watched. Or maybe it was a book you read. And you thought, oh, it'd be nice to feel like that for real. Well, you did feel like that for real. You actually felt that way when you read the book. Sometimes a song does it for us. A song brings a feeling. Maybe it was a dream you had, a daydream, a sleeping dream. Maybe you had a dream and you remember how it felt. So you see, all of those things are memories. It doesn't make a pinch of difference which one it is. Where is that feeling? What memory is it hooked to? And I think I talked long enough here for everybody to have picked one and found the memory.
I think so. I'm going to just give you guys a heads up what this looks like in real life, like in the moment. In a minute, if you choose to do anchoring as your aligned action, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and put everything down and relax. And I'm going to have you think about that feeling, how you'd rather feel. And then I'll ask you to put your anchor on and really feeling that emotion of how you'd rather feel. I'm going to have you experience every detail of how it feels. And I'm going to ask you to, like I say, put your anchor on, and you're going to keep it there and hold it there as I grow this feeling of how you'd rather feel, bigger and better and louder. And I'm going to amplify it. And as we amplify and turn it up, you're going to hold the emotion and keep your anchor on. And then I'm going to ask you to take your anchor off and open your eyes, and you will have programmed a shortcut that you can use in any given moment to motivate yourself through your day, or trigger yourself out of sadness. Whenever you need that I'd rather feel feeling, you just put on that anchor.
So by now you might be thinking,
oh, I can't even get out of bed. This sounds impossible.
I have great news for you. You can do this one from the comfort of your bed.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I can't talk about it. Every time I talk about it, I fall apart. I don't, even if I could talk about it, I wouldn't know what to say. I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it.
We get it. There is a belief out there that you have to find some way to articulate the very big, very complicated feelings and the whole tangle of thoughts and everything that you need to find some way to say that out loud, or you won't heal. And that is not true. I want you to notice that you thought up a feeling you want to have. You picked your anchor, you understand what's involved, you understand why we do it that way, you get the whole premise. We explained it all to you. And you didn't have to share the memory with us. We know that you know what memory it is. You know the last time you felt like that. And you want to feel like that again. And all you need to do is listen, follow along, and play along, be open-minded. And just doing that is taking aligned action.
Don't spend your energy spinning your wheels. Be deliberate. Let's go.
So if you're going to take aligned action with unwanted feelings, right? You know the ones. I can't stop crying. I know that one really well. I'm so sad. Or my heart hurts so much. I'm so heavy-hearted. Or I'm just so angry. Whatever it is, you're just shaking your fist at the heavens and saying, I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah, we learned a little about feelings today, right? Our first ingredient, we understand how feelings get made and why they get made, right? We learned a tool called the anchor. We learned that there are also 7 more that we use, but this was our second ingredient, the neuroplasticity tool. And we learned ingredient number 3, taking aligned action and decide how you'd rather do. And our action today, aligned action, is going to be doing the anchoring exercise.
And so when you don't want to feel this way, you simply touch your anchor and you allow yourself to be triggered into that way you'd rather feel. So Kim, why don't you lead everybody through it for everybody who wants to have an anchor, so that when they get into this position of, I can't feel like this right now, to have an anchor to be able to touch.
I would love to. I love doing this because who couldn't use a quick out in a minute, right? So what I'll have you do now is, if you're going to join me in taking the aligned action of doing the anchor, I'll have you put down your pen or the remote, whatever you're holding, and just get comfortable where you're seated or lying, and close your eyes now and take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. We're going to set the intention to relax more and more as we get into this beautiful experience. And deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to think about that feeling that you'd rather feel. Really bring it up in your mind, in your mind's eye, that feeling of how you'd rather feel. And now if you need to open and peek, I want you to put your anchor on. That would be your index finger touching the knuckle that you've chosen, and really, really experience. Keep your eyes closed and your anchor on. Really feeling, hearing this memory. What's going on? What are the sounds you hear in this how I'd rather feel feeling? The smells you're experiencing it. Does it smell savory or sweet or homey or woodsy? What does it smell like in this memory of how you'd rather feel? Really engrossing yourself now and turning up the volume on this feeling, keeping your anchor on, really turning up the volume to 4. What do you see in this memory? What are the sights you're seeing? The tastes you're tasting, the touches you can feel, the air on your skin. Are you sitting, standing, walking in the sand? What can you feel and touch? What is the temperature where you are? Is it chilly in this memory, in this beautiful feeling, this perfect feeling of how you'd rather feel? Who's there with you in this feeling that's really growing this feeling all the way up to 8 now? We're really feeling with our anchor on, we're really feeling this beautiful eruption of how I'd rather feel. And we're nourishing the memory with the sights and the smell and who's there and the energy of the memory and the soundtrack to this memory. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you see it? This I'd rather feel feeling, really invoke it now and really growing it and erupting it into a 10, into an eruption of 10, really growing that now. injecting the chemicals throughout your whole body of how I'd rather feel with your anchor on and really feeling it, breathing it, really flushing your system with how you'd rather feel. And I want you to take your anchor off and open your eyes and come back to now. Really just vibing on that feeling, coming back to now. Welcoming you all back to now. That was so good.
Amazing. Nice relief.
Mm-hmm.
So, right, if you are looking to start living and loving again and find a way to put your pain in your past, use the recipe to soar.
Yes, learn how the mind processes information and creates memories, our first ingredient. And then find some mindfulness exercise and meditations to really support how you'd rather think and feel. That's our second ingredient, right? The tools. Then our ingredient 3 is focus your energy on taking aligned action to do the things that move you a step towards that life you choose, the life you love. Our third ingredient, aligned action.
That's right. As long as you can go and forage around for those 3 ingredients, you can tackle and heal through your grief. You see, you get to choose. Are you a victim of circumstance? Or do you choose to be the creator of a life you love? Choose to create conscious healing. Keep yourself stable and soar. And by the way, why don't we test that anchor? I'd like to invite everybody to just take their finger and put their anchor on for a minute. And as you do it, just close your eyes for a moment and inhale. Take a deep breath in as you hit your anchor, and notice that feeling just slowly waving in. It comes in like a wave on the shore. And just notice how cool that is. And that's how that happens.
And I'd like to remind everyone, just like we saw in the video, and what Sarah mentioned, how we need to start flooding and getting our minds used to and our bodies used to this new chemical of the feeling we'd rather feel. So I invite you to really practice this anchor every day, a couple times a day, to really get your body used to those chemicals and really connect those neurons in your brain.
Great. Microdose on the new feeling, your new vibe. So I would like to thank everybody for being here today. I really, really appreciate you doing whatever it was that you had to do to bring yourselves here. And we hope that you found this information helpful.
And we hope we got some relief today. Now, would it be okay if we showed you how we can work together to make this happen for you fast?
Mm-hmm. We'd like to introduce you to Unshattered.
Choose to consciously heal your heartbreak and learn a revolutionary new way forward in 4 sessions. It's a magnetic mind method presented by Sarah and I, super conscious coaches. So the first session, all of the sessions are pre-recorded. The 4 sessions are pre-recorded. They're about 90 minutes each. You have access to these as many times as you need them. The first session, we cover understanding your pain and recognize how the brain processes information and experiences. And we'll teach you a way to give yourself moments of relief from the grief. Again, Anytime you experience a loss, you can revisit these sessions.
And in session 2, you'll teach your brain how to seek out different perspectives, to find a bigger picture. Learn a technique to help you break out of the confusion and the despair. Notice how your mind doesn't really want to contemplate a new future. We'll explore what creates the feelings of regret and blame, and learn what you can do to get out of these thought loops.
In session 3, we will explore, address, honor, and embrace the side of you that wants to give up, stay stuck, and be hurt. Learn about our predisposition to want to stay in our comfort zone, even when it hurts us. We will discuss core wounding and self-sabotage and guide you through a process of listening to and understanding those parts of you that are in pain.
And in session 4, you'll learn how and why we exercise the energy of gratitude. We'll help you dream a new dream and figure out how you can get there. We'll guide you to map your steps, big ones or baby ones, and create your plan of action. We'll teach you how to condition and rewire your brain to be okay with a reimagined future by practicing it mentally. And again, all of this is recorded, and there's a downloadable workbook so that anytime you experience a loss, or if there's any losses you've had that you want to work through, you can get a fresh workbook and you can put that loss in through this healing path, and you can heal from each loss as many times as you need.
Now, middle of September, towards the end of September, we are relaunching this program, and we're adding a 5th session that relates to our family entanglements, how loss really gets tangled up in family entanglements. And that will be, it will go from 4 sessions to 5 that will be recorded, and that will be re-recorded live in September.
And everybody would get automatic access to that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's all that worth to you?
By working through your heartbreak and grief with this workshop, you're going to save thousands of dollars on therapy, prescriptions, over-the-counter prescriptions.
Under the counter?
Oh, all around the counter, right? And alcohol.
You'll be able to take control of your thoughts, your feelings, and your life.
You'll be able to get back to school, work, or family.
You won't have to miss participating because of your anguish and your misery.
You'll have more resilience to navigate life.
You'll reconnect and strengthen relationships with your family, friends, and loved ones.
You'll be able to create new relationships, experiences, and even opportunities.
You'll experience years of more joy, peace, happiness, and gratitude.
So here's what's involved. You know, we had to go through all kinds of trial and error, like right turns, wrong turns, and anything to find relief from our grief. But you won't have to, because we're giving you this quick 4-session program delivered over Zoom to give you the understanding, the tools, and the action steps that you need.
With this program, you'll be equipped to take the wheel. You can move forward into a life you love. You'll get the specialized tools you need to lift the burden of grief.
And with these tools, you can get rid of those coping strategies. You won't need them anymore. This is going to make it faster and easier for you to get back to living. How? Because it works.
Because it works. You know, some people think that only a therapist or a counselor can help.
That is just not true. You know, a mindset coach, what Sarah and I do, a mindset coach is like a personal trainer for your mind. We help you strengthen your mindset and get the results you're looking for. We can guide you through this particular part of your journey while teaching you and empowering you to move yourself towards your desires. We can see your blind spots and help you clear up the path ahead of you, ensuring you're equipped with the knowledge, tools, and motivations that you need.
You know, a racehorse has a jockey on its back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the racehorse wears blinders. The racehorse relies on the jockey to guide him to the finish line as quickly as possible. The jockey isn't running the race. The jockey's coaching the horse
Mm-hmm.
and guiding him past the potential setbacks because the jockey can see what the horse can't. So in that sense, you know, that's what we can help you with in terms of coaching. We also have experienced all manner of loss, and we're here to mentor you as well. So
Here's
here,
everything that's included. Yeah, here's what you're going to get today.
you're going to get a recorded copy of the 4-day workshop, 3 recorded extra coaching sessions, printable workbook, and access to the private Facebook community where we can coach and mentor you.
Now, today we're offering this incredible introductory price of $555. $555.
So if money was no object, would you love to be in the program?
Imagine it. Imagine being able to wake up in the morning actually excited about the day before you.
Imagine feeling in control of your life again.
Now, I want you to imagine that you can imagine laughing, connecting, and enjoying your life once more.
And I have a serious question for you. If all this did was show you for sure, that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that you can take that deep breath, would it be worth it? So we've got a few extras for you today. We're going to include a printable morning clarity ritual. We'll include 3 recorded meditations.
You're also going to get a library of over 50 recorded lenses sessions. These are weekly planning and healing sessions to, what that does is help release those blocks that are holding you back. And you'll be able to attend the live re-recording of our program and get an extra 30 minutes with Sarah and I at the end of each session.
I'm just gonna include a little extra support for everybody here. I would also like to invite everyone to share this program with anyone that they would like to share it with. We're going to do a 2-for-1 offer today, where when you sign up, just provide the email address of the person that you would like to offer your second ticket to, and we'll set them up. We'll set them up on the website. All you do is you go to the website and log in, and it's all right there. You put your earbuds in, private as anything. It's between you and your worksheets. And so you can just share it, and we'll just go 2-for-1.
And I'd like to add a bonus for anyone today. I would like to offer a free hour of private one-on-one coaching for the first 20 people who get signed up today. I think that would be really valuable to really kickstart their healing journey.
I love that. I think I would like to participate in that piece of it as well, Kim. And why don't we extend that free hour of private one-on-one coaching and support to the first 30. And I'll take a few of those appointments and we can help 30 extra.
Outstanding. That's fabulous. So really, here's everything that's included in today's special offer. This is great.
So you're going to get the 4-day workshop. You're going to get 3 extra coaching sessions. You're going to get the workbook. And again, with this program and the 4-day healing program recorded, you work through it for each loss you have, whether it's an old one or a new one. And often it's a very significant death, but you might find yourself like I did. I lost my home in a house fire 8 months ago. Some people have lost their health. Some people lose a relationship. Some people lose a lot of finance. Anything significant to you that you've lost out of your life, your brain does the same thing, and we use this program. So back to my list, you get the 4-day healing program recorded. You get 3 extra recorded coaching sessions. You get the workbook to download. You get the morning clarity ritual, 3 recorded meditations. You get the recorded lenses library, which are the planning and healing sessions to clear your blocks and keep you focused forward. And you get access to our private Facebook community where we will mentor and guide you through your journey.
And so there it is, everyone. This is our incredible introductory price of only $555. Who's in? Who's in today?
So there is a link. I'm going to pop it in the chat here for everyone. Let's just go.
If you're watching this on record, the link is www.superconsciouscoaches.com. All one word, superconsciouscoaches.com. And that will take you directly to this fabulous offer. And I'll just repeat it one more time, www.superconsciouscoaches.com.
Perfect. The website hosts the entire program. So when you log in there, you've got access to us, you've got access to the program. And of course, if you want to chat with us in real time, if you want to share your experience or you want a little bit of feedback, you can post and encourage others along in the Facebook community. And certainly we welcome everybody to come to our live re-recording in mid-September, and the details will be sent out to anyone who has already signed up for Unshattered.
Oh, Sarah, it just occurred to me listening to this great value, and I was just recalling when I was in that hellhole, when I was isolated. I didn't have a second person to share this with. I didn't have anyone. I didn't have any money, but I know, knowing what I know now, I would have paid anything for this program, but I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together at the time or anybody to share with.
Right.
Like, can we do something for maybe someone in that particular situation?
Oh, goodness. I remember, depending on the loss, I was in one or the other of those camps.
Right.
Sometimes I had no money and sometimes I had no people.
No people, right.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? If you're one of those who has no people to be sharing it with at this time, instead of putting an email address in that field, just type the word donate. And if you're in the camp of, I don't have the finances to be able to do this, but I really would, I know this would help me. This is for me. This is what I need. go to the link, but click contact us and just let us know. And what we'll do is we'll set up like a little scholarship, try and match up those who have nobody to share it with to those who have no money to pay, and see if we can't help a few people that way.
Boy, I sure do love that. That really gives me that feeling of my true nature and purpose. I love that. I love that. So here's the bottom line, everyone. You have two choices.
Yep, you can make yourself comfortable and stay in your pit of despair. You could choose to do that. Just stay there. Or you can grab hold of the ladder we're bringing you and climb out. I want to extend a warm thank you for anyone who is here showing up for themselves in a really big way today. And we want you to know that there are better days ahead, and we can't wait to get you to them. So we're going to turn off the recording and answer any questions from anybody here today. Get through some of those questions. And we look forward to seeing you in the Facebook group. Thank you so much.
Thank you.